Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are chiming us from. Today is another Thursday. As we have always said it to you, no matter what happens, we will try as much as possible to come here every week to give you some nuggets, to give you tips and strategies that will transform your life, not just from a financial perspective, but your overall holistic life. Today, I'm joined again with my brother, my mentor, and a friend, Gustav Biachu. Some of you might not know this guy. I won't go through the length of introducing him, but if you go to our past videos, you will get the entire encyclopedia of this man. Again, my brother Gustav, welcome on board. How are you doing today on this beautiful Thursday?
Hey, Dr. Edimo, man, it's a great pumping pleasure just being on the line on this beautiful Thursday. In fact, when I see your smile, I get reminded by the fact that if yesterday wasn't good, tomorrow is going to be better. Dr. Edimo, I also just want to thank you because it's not always a pleasure, but it's also a privilege to be on the line here. One of the greatest misconceptions in personal finance and wealth building and in life in general is that if you work hard, you earn a good income, and you stay out of trouble, wealth will somehow happen automatically. Unfortunately, that's simply not true, as you've noticed. Every week, intelligent, hardworking professionals, doctors, engineers, nurses, executives, business owners who have spent 20, 30 years building impressive careers, yet privately wonder, where did all this money go? So what I've discovered is that the gap isn't usually income. It's actually ownership because most people have been taught how to earn, but very few have been taught how to systematically convert income into lasting wealth and legacy. So I'm happy to be with you today because we are going to challenge some of these assumptions, rethink the way we approach money, and hopefully we are going to give people a practical blueprint for moving from being successful earners to become intentional owners. Because at the end of the day, Dr. Edimo, my belief is simple. Your salary can take care of you, but ownership will take care of generations.
Wow. Did I tell you guys about my brother and mentor Gustav? This guy, he has his ways of doing things that, I try to copy and I'm learning every day, His words, he personally picks his words and align them in a way that myself sometimes I can't even align. Glad to have you on board here, Bridget Unana, and all the other folks that are chiming in. Please share this video. Again, every single week that we come here and put in our hearts, put in our energy to educate someone, to push someone forward, we don't get paid for this. But due to the fact that we have discovered this as part of our purpose, and that is why we have remained committed for the past year in doing this every single Thursday. Faith Suleiman, thank you for joining. Please share the video and let more folks join this live. Today it's going to be an interesting live. And my brother Gustav, be conscious of the fact that we have people joining us from all over the world. So some
Correct.
of this advice that you're going to be giving, make sure you coin it to especially those that are joining us from Africa as well, so that they might benefit from your great, great story and
Absolutely.
great, great expertise. By the way, hardworking professionals fall behind. Why do many intelligent, hardworking professionals reach their 50 with surprisingly little wealth to show for decades of earnings? What are they really missing, brother?
I think that's an interesting one, especially because not only the fact that we're already in our 40s and 50s, or getting into, at least for me, I'm getting into 50 next year, you are still in your early 40s. But as we know, if there's anything that goes fast, it's time, right? By the time you know it, time is slipping by so fast. And the statistics are telling us that a lot of people in their late 40s, in their 50s, are starting to struggle the world, even in Cameroon, where we come from, in Nigeria. Some of these professionals make some good amount of money, right? Your salary is going to make you comfortable, but don't get that mistaken To build wealth, you have to get in the mindset of understanding ownership. The second point why they're challenged a lot is that they don't have no structure around the money they make. What do I mean by that? Behavioral economists call this the lifestyle inflation, right? As income rises, expenses quietly rise too. The problem, therefore, becomes not the lack of the money, but the problem is that every dollar already has a destination before it even arrives. So, what
Correct.
really happens is that you, as the earner, end up becoming like a pipe instead of becoming a planting machine. So,
I
the
love
thing
it.
just passes through you and goes out, right? Now, it's important to understand something, especially when we are thinking and talking about structure, because money loves structure, guys. Without structure, it quietly leaks through our different lifestyle choices. Now, the third point on this that is important to also pay attention, and this applies to everybody. Everything I'm saying here, it doesn't matter your location in this world, it matters exactly your understanding of how these principles work, because you must understand that principles are universal. There are
Yes.
just some laws of money that apply to every society and to every human being. The third point I want to touch about, Dr. Edimo, a lot of these high earners confuse success with consumption. What do I mean by that? Most people tend to reward themselves before they reward their future.
True.
New cars, new homes, luxury vacations, instead of starting first of all from buying assets, which and those assets will have the capability in the near future to buy them all these other luxuries they aspire for. So it makes sense once you understand and you deliver and you acquire the mindset of understanding that the money that comes in needs to be planted so that the harvest of that money is what you use now to enjoy your life. That to me is the single mindset that has been really plaguing, especially people who make a lot of income but still find themselves challenged. Because there is a gentleman who is called Morgan Housel. He said something very powerful. And that guy wrote a book called The Psychology of Money amongst other books, but I
Yep.
think it's in The Psychology of Money. He said something. He said, doing well with money has very little to do with intelligence and a lot to do with behavior.
Good.
Most of us, especially as immigrants, African immigrants, we come from backgrounds where we were trained to worry more about how intelligent we are, how smart we are, how much we can have A grades in school, but we're not trained to understand that with money, it's not about intelligence, it's about behavior. And behavior doesn't know education. Behavior doesn't know all that stuff. Behavior knows things you've trained your innate instinct to react to under
Have
certain
you
circumstances.
just sorry to chime in here? Have you looked back? And again, Bridget Yunana, Faith Suleiman, Irene Habila, all the other folks that are joining, please thank you for joining. And Bridget Yunana says,
Even educated people, they know that in times of a market downturn, it's just a temporary rollback in the market. They know that the market will roll back, it will bounce back and get back to profitability. How come they cannot hold their emotions together to not do the stupid thing which is trying to sell? Because everyone is selling and the prices are going down, without realizing that the more you are selling, the more the prices are going down. At least that is what the education in the classroom taught them. Now, when it comes time to execute that education, emotions take
yep,
over. So
yep.
what it tells you and me, and even the studies are indicating that relatively some of the most successful investors were not the most intelligent in terms of academics or qualifications.
Ah,
Because instead of training their intelligence, they are training their behaviors.
you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And Faith Suleiman states, those who we think are the dull ones in school days are the ones swimming in wealth now.
Absolutely. And I like what Faith just said. You know why, Dr. Edimo? Because there are a few things to that explains for that. You see, let me tell you something. From my observation too, right? The reason why a lot of those students are very successful in life today is because number one, they are not one dimensional. Number two, we realize that in school there is only one way to judge the excellence of a student who was in the first place, who was in the second place, who was in the third place. But in life, there are multiple ways by which you can get to your destination. Number one, but most importantly, the things that life rewards people because of, the behaviors that life rewards people because of, are not necessarily the behaviors that people are rewarded in school for. For example, the person who is first in class is because they gave a set of questions and that person responded to it. Maybe that person spent some time reading, or maybe the subject of physics just came to that person much more easily, or chemistry or something, right? But in real life, what happens is, for example, the person who is successful can persist on the same thing even when they are failing for 7 to 10 years. Most people will give up because our intelligent quotient in our mind will tell us, you know what? If I've not been successful for 2 years, it means I'm not good at this, or I'm not supposed to do this, right? That is one. The second thing I think which makes it even more important is that for a lot of the students who are not necessarily the top of the class, they left school with a chip on their shoulder because they were usually looked upon like, okay, they are not too smart, they are not performing a certain way. So they told themselves that they have to prove a certain point. And so they generally grow up with a certain amount of ambition that is not common to everyday people.
And if you look at the stories of the Mark Zuckerberg, these were
Mm-hmm,
small kids, but they never even finished college.
mm-hmm,
And you
mm-hmm.
look at Elon Musk didn't go to any college that I know of.
Correct,
You look at
correct.
the founder of Apple. He didn't go
Correct,
to
Steve
any.
Jobs.
Steve
Yeah.
Jobs didn't go to any college that I know of. So most of these people that are multi-trillionaires today that own huge companies, right? I think you made a very good point here. It's with respect to, I think it's more of tenacity
Yes.
and the willingness to persist
Yes.
your act. Some of these folks, if you see them, they got to understand what their act is. They got to understand what their purpose was. And look at the founder of Amazon. That guy was
Mm-hmm,
sleeping among books. He started with books. He didn't even go to
mm-hmm,
school. But
mm-hmm,
they stayed consistent to their act, and that's
mm-hmm.
what brought them to where they are today. So I was
And
talking.
and 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 Dr. Dimo, just you talked about consistency and persistence. And guys, I want everybody listening to us because these are key laws of success everywhere in the world. It doesn't matter your race, it doesn't matter your creed, it doesn't matter your color. These are the laws. Persistence and consistency. And sometimes when we talk about these things, somebody might think it only applies to business. No. How do you get from 250 naira a month or $250 a month you are investing in a stock and you get to $1 million over 25 years? Isn't that persistence?
Mhm.
Isn't that consistency?
Yep.
How do you get to the expert level of somebody who started doing 2 push-ups every day and at a certain point you can do 30 push-ups? Isn't
Yep.
that consistent?
Yep.
Isn't that persistence? How do you get to walk to a child who used to crawl and creep on the ground to a child walking? You get up, you try, you fall. You get up, you try, you fall until you start walking. Isn't that persistence?
Yep.
Isn't that consistency? So when we are talking about some of these laws, guy, I learned something very early, Dr. Dimo. The truth of the matter is the combination of victory in life is simplistic. We as human beings, because of our education, because of our background, because of some academic qualifications, we think the more sophisticated it is, the better the outcome is going to be.
Yep.
I know you and me have learned that the hard way. That's why we talk a lot about simplicity in the things we coach our clients, in the structures we put around our own portfolios and our clients' portfolio. We try to eliminate complexity because success is not based on complexity.
Absolutely.
It is based on simple things done consistently and persistently over time.
I was just driving today. Again, by the way, I mailed here.
You
I
better.
mailed.
You
I
better.
finally mailed
I
your
wasn't
stuff.
planning to wear this today.
Yes.
I was planning to wear well smart.
I finally mailed your stuff today, so you have
Awesome.
it on Saturday. But I was driving, right? I was listening to this School of Hard Knocks. This guy. And I
Yes.
was like, whoa. I looked at just his Facebook, he had about 6 million views.
Yes.
What's this guy talking? He's just talking to random people that he has identified that they have built something for themselves over time.
Correct.
I was like, okay, this is our platform that we're doing. We come here every week to talk about this, right? Why don't I, even the people that I meet, I just talk to them. If they are willing to tell me their story, I record it for 30 seconds and I ate.
What stops us from doing that? Fantastic
Absolutely.
idea.
Absolutely. This guy have done it. Look at where he is. The thing is, we sit back here every day. We want to find a new thing. The world is billions of people. If somebody can get 20 million of them, even if you have just 2 million or 1 million from that billion, that is a
Correct.
big. But the thing is, when we sit here and talk, or when we want to start a business, we want to do something that nobody else have ever done. Number one, we don't have the knowledge, we don't have the resources, we don't even have the manpower to do that. But there are multiple things out there that folks can do. Just to align back to what you said, right? One of the things I was just talking to one of my clients yesterday, because when I do some of these discovery calls, I start with your budget. Are you
Mm-hmm.
how much are you making?
Mm-hmm.
Where's your money going? In
Mm-hmm.
order for me to understand the leaks.
Of
I love
course.
that your term, the leaks, because
Yes.
without understanding the leaks,
You
you
cannot help.
don't, and you're not even investing. I got to
Very
realize that
true.
this young man, very smart young man, but unfortunately, he doesn't understand the mechanisms of money.
Mm-hmm.
Just from me talking to him, he's overspending his needs. You can't be making you can't be making $1,700 a month and you're paying $1,200 in rent. You know, so 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 it's like you making 100,000 francs and you're paying 70,000 in rent, right?
Man,
So just right there, your fruit, I mean your seed, which is
it's
your
already gone.
paycheck, it's gone. You've turned that to a fruit. So you're already consuming your entire seed. So there is no way
Man.
for you to plan. And I usually tell people, and this is free coaching. Look at what you are making. How much are you bringing in? If you're married, you're combining it with your spouse, understand how much you're bringing in. If you're spending more than 50% of what you're bringing in on your housing, on water, on electricity, then right there, there is a big problem.
Mighty problem.
There is a big problem. It's going to be very, very difficult for you to build wealth like that. So the first thing that you have to do is to look at your budget. Where is your budget is? Can you save or invest 15 to 20%? And that is where paying yourself first comes in. And right now, this takes me to the next question, my brother.
Yes.
And this, some people might be in their 30s, I mean, in their 40s. Some listening to us might be even in their 50s, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they feel that they're falling behind financially. There is no way for them. All they're looking for tomorrow is that kid that is 9 years old today, hoping that that kid is going to be their hallelujah chorus when they turn 60 or 70.
Mm-hmm.
Hoping that that kid is going to bring them into their own houses when they turn 70 or 80. When they don't know that life will even be more expensive than what we have today.
Very true.
You have for those people that are in your 40s, 50s, and getting into their 60s, that what hope do they still have?
Well, I think for a start we cannot pussyfoot around that, right? I mean, if you are in your late 40s, 50s, 60s, and you've really believed genuinely, you've done the numbers and you believe that you're financially behind, there is no way I can sit here and tell you it's okay, you still have a lot of time, take it easy. No. You have to do number one thing you have to do, first of all, you have to declare what I call a financial war, period. You have to, because they say critical times call for critical decisions, right? But here is the deal. For the next 5 to 10 years, I call it the decade of sacrifice. You have to do a few things. Number one, you deprioritize comfort. Let's not bullshit ourselves. Comfort and pain are not bad partners. Generally, in life, to get ahead, there is a certain amount of pain you must be willing to take. And that pain will come through sacrifices, through giving up things that you want, but you cannot get right now because you're planning for something in the future. So, number one, you have to deprioritize comfort. The things that you are addicted to, the things that gives you comfort. Oh, I cannot drive an older car. I must live in a certain neighborhood. I must live in a certain kind of house. All that stuff, if you know you are behind financially and you want to catch up, you must look at those things carefully. Because you must remember something. For a majority of people, these three things are going to consume the most amount of your earnings every month. Your housing takes about 28 to 33% of your earnings. Your transportation, which means your car, or if you don't have a car, maybe taxi, busing, the cab, whatever you're using, is going to take a certain about 14 to 18% of your pay. The third thing is insurances and groceries. That is another thing. So these three things are generally some of the bigger things where if you really want to see impact and you find yourself in that late stage in your life where you're feeling behind, you have to make sure you can make a move on those things which relate to your comfort. The
So,
second important thing, prioritize ownership. I'm saying here, prioritize ownership. Every major transformation requires concentrated effort. And when I say ownership here, I mean owning assets that are proven, that are legal, and that you have researched and you know that are assets that are going to grow as time goes. You wanted to say something, Dr. Dimo?
yeah, Faith Suleiman is asking you a question. What if
Awesome.
my bills are much more than my income? How can I invest?
I like that question. Faithfully, man, I'll give you a very simple and straightforward answer. Your bills are a determination you make. Do I make sense? Most of your bills is a choice you make. You are not, there's nobody with a gun on your head that you must own a car at a certain point in your life or you must live in a certain kind of house. I understand we need a minimum kind of amenities. But when we are in critical situations, guys, when we are looking here at a situation where, unfortunately for us, our lifestyle is more than our income, it's a drastic situation and we must do something about it. Because you don't do anything about it, automatically at some point you are going to go bankrupt.
Yep.
What it will mean is that you either end up being somebody who has problems with everybody because you've been borrowing money and not able to pay back, or at some point you will just not be able to live. It doesn't work like that. You look at Greece, you look at different countries, because sometimes we talk about these things. It's not only at the individual level, even for nations, even for companies. How do you think a company goes bankrupt? Why do you think a company goes bankrupt? Because the company is spending more money than it is making. It cannot operate in business anymore. So your personal life is like a business. If your income is more than if your expenses is more than your income, you have to find a way to cut down your expenses. When the company's expenses start rising more than income, what do? They start reducing expenses. They close down some different locations. They fire some people so they don't have them on their payroll no more. They stop some different expenses. Maybe they stop the CEO from using the private jet. He has to take business class tickets. These are all ways by which companies manage that. So think about yourself like that too.
Or as an individual, you should make more money.
I was going to that exactly. I was
Yeah.
going to that because you are right, Dr. Dimo. Because there are only three ways you get yourself out of a situation like that, right? Number one, you reduce your because you are trying to get money to invest. The first thing is you either have your expenses are lower than your income. That is one. Number two, if your income is higher, if your income is lower than your expenses, then you make more money. Number three, which is the greatest ideal, is that your expenses are reducing, your income is increasing. You have a lot more money to invest.
True.
I hope that makes sense, Faith.
And
Remember those three things, those three key things I talked about. It's very important.
Faith rightly said, this is the mentality of some of our parents. The legacy they never built for us or the kids, but they expect us, the kids, to build for them. They expect their kids to build them a house or buy them a car, which they never built for for those same kids. Anyway, you're absolutely right. I'm telling you, things are changing, and I coach kids. I tell them you always have to take care of your parents, but
It's
taking
non-negotiable.
yeah, taking care of your parents 30 years ago or 40 years ago and taking care of your parents now, it's totally different. So these kids will have their own life. Some of them will be struggling. So we as their parents, we still have time to build something for ourselves. That is why Gustav and I we come here every day to talk to people so that even if your kid is supposed to support you tomorrow in some way, shape, or form, they shouldn't be supporting you 100%. That will be an overall burden upon themselves, their families, but it should be out of love. And the
Mhm.
worst case scenario, if these kids are not even able to support you, you can support yourself. And going back to what Gustav you were saying about income and expenses,
Mhm.
we as individuals, we have to start learning to pay ourselves first.
Fact.
I don't care whether your expenses are more than your income, whether you're making 20,000 naira or 10,000 francs. If you cannot save $1,000 with 10,000 francs, you will not be able to save $1,000 with 100,000 francs. Some of us, we are not in that mentality of saving and preparing for rainy days or building a nest egg for ourselves. All what we make, we want to consume. We want to go to the shop and buy the best clothes. We want to go and eat in the fancy restaurant. When your friend says they're going out, even though you don't have that money, part of it might be your rent. You're going out with them. When somebody is donating at a philanthropic stuff, you feel energized and you feel as if somebody is looking at you to do the same. Meanwhile, you're not in the best financial situation. You and only you know when you put your head on that pillow what happens.
Yes.
You
Yes.
and only you, nobody else's.
It's a
So
fact.
no one should be running another person's race. We are all here for a purpose. We are here for a purpose, and every second that goes by, it reduces our total time left here. So it's a choice of what we want to make with our life that determines how our future looks. It will be better for you to prepare for that future, and that future doesn't get you don't get to that future, than for you to get to that future you're broke, sick, and homeless because
That's
the
right.
world will be so cruel to you.
It sure will all the time. And Dr. Dimo, I know you want to move for to the next, but let me just share two additional points on the thing we're talking about, right?
Okay.
For the people who are in their 40s, 50s, and maybe getting to their late 50s and they're worried that they are behind. We talked about the first thing, you declare war on your finances, which means for the next 5 to 10 years, I call it the decade of sacrifice. You eliminate comfort and things like that. You prioritize ownership. The second important consideration in this particular instance, you have to separate your money into two vaults, two very important vaults. The first one is survival money. Survival money means what? Survival money is money you need to live and survive. The money you need to pay your rent, the money you need on a day-to-day basis to live. And then you also now have your investment money. Never confuse the two. Because if you confuse the two and you mess up your survival money, you get deeper in the hole. Now, you cannot invest your rent money or that kind of thing or your mortgage, but you also cannot build wealth if every dollar is only available for consumption. And that is to what Faith was asking us about. The third very important thing, and I think this one crystallizes it all, consistently investing. Now, we've said it multiple times, it doesn't matter the amount, the behavior first. You know why? Because when you invest consistently, you eliminate emotions from getting in the way of consistency. There's a gentleman who is called Peter Lynch. Peter Lynch is looked upon as one of the greatest investors in the history of the US, of the United States, because this guy took a fund which is called the Magellan Fund, and it's a Fidelity fund. He took that fund from about 70 something million dollars, and in 20 years, in 14 years, he took it to over multiple billions. All right. This guy averaged about 29% growth every year during his career, Dr. Edimo. This guy said something, and this is what changed my mentality and my understanding about money significantly, especially about investing. He said, far more money has been lost preparing for corrections than in the corrections themselves. I want that to sink in.
Yeah.
So people have lost more money waiting on the sideline. Oh, Dr. Edimo, I was watching CNBC. They say there's going to be a crash next month. I'm not going to invest now. I will wait. Do you know that for people, between the year 2000, Dr. Edimo, and today, if you had invested the day after 5 of the most punishing downturns of the market, you would have still been up about 1,200% today.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's
Guys,
a fact.
so if you are behind, start with those 3 things and start running with them.
Yeah.
Declare war on your personal finance. The next thing, differentiate the vols. Make sure you don't use survivor money for investing. Go out there, try to make more income, get a second job, drive Uber, do whatever you need to do. The third thing, invest consistently. If you're sitting in America, the stock market is there. If you're in England, it's there. If you're in Nigeria, the Nigerian stock market is very powerful. In fact, do you know that in terms of relative percentage growth, the Nigerian stock market has delivered more value over the last few years? I was reading something on Twitter the other day than even the US stock market. It's just that people don't know that, and people don't trust the market.
Yeah.
So if you are sitting listening to us from Nigeria, you have that opportunity. Dangote is getting an IPO soon.
We have even provided platforms where folks can invest in Nigeria.
Yeah.
There are applications out there in Nigeria, vetted applications that you can download on your phone and start investing with 1,000 naira, 5,000, 10,000 naira, whatever. So gone are those days you tell me, oh, I don't have the money to invest, or I don't know what to do. At the minimum, even in Africa, some folks are here, some folks that I've talked to in Africa, some of them are not even comfortable putting their money in the bank. Because they say they are afraid of banks. So how do you expect your money to grow?
That's right.
Gone are those days. I tell people, if you're in Africa, you can play Jangi. A lot of people playing Jangi in Africa. Like here, personally, I don't play Jangi anymore because it's just a waste of my time and my money loses value every year. It's inflation is 4%. If I'm putting $1,000 every month, by the end of the year, the 12,000 will be like 11,000 because it has lost its value.
Correct.
So I'll prefer putting that money in either a money market and make 4% than to just play Jangi and stuff. But people in Africa, that can be an easiest way for you to
raise capital
and invest and pay yourself first. But you know what happens when those folks take that money from the Jangi? It's as if they won a lottery. They want to buy chairs for their house, the chairs that they have been dreaming of. It's so funny, man, because all what folks do when they get money from Jangi or from Susu is to buy luxurious goods, to buy that shoe that they never could afford, buy with one paycheck, buy that TV, maybe upgrade that apartment complex, maybe buy that bag or that clothes, but this can be your initial capital for you to start building long-term wealth.
Absolutely.
You can say, okay, 50% of that is going to an investment platform so that for me to start investing for the next 10 years. Then rather than me crying every month I get paid, 10% will continue going in there. In
Fact.
10, 15, 20 years, the amount of money that you see in there, you could have never, ever amassed by yourself.
Fact.
So, going back, the practical blueprint. If someone listening today is in their late 50s and 60s and feel that they are falling behind, what is the
Mhm.
blueprint of transforming their financial future over the next 3 to 5 years?
Hmm. Again, you know, I think number one, I think yes, they can transform their financial future, but they cannot use the same strategy that a 25-year-old or a 30-year-old is using, because their greatest advantage is not necessarily time. That they don't have the luxury for a 50-year-old who is targeting 65 for retirement, for example. They don't have the luxury of 30 years like a 30-year-old, right? Or 45 years like a 45 or like a 25-year-old. But they have certain advantages that can completely tilt the balance in their favor. Number one, generally by your 40s, you are going to be between your, I think statistics say between your 40s, between the ages of 40 and I think 55. That's your peak earning age. That's when you're going to earn the most amount of money from whatever job you're doing. Because number one, if you finish school at about 22, 23, you've been working in that industry. By the time you get to 40, 45, you've put 20 years of work. So you've had advancements, you've had promotions, the experience is high. So your income is generally higher at that point. That's an advantage because it permits you now to be able to make up for lost time with the big amounts of money you can invest. Number two, you have experience. And when I say experience, this is experience in life, experience with professional work. Your experience in life helps you to be able to sniff danger from afar. That's why one of the things I really caution people a lot about, when you are in those at that point in your life where you feel like you are behind, don't try to to do the extraordinary. You want to rush, but you want to be cautious because that's the time too when you are very vulnerable. So, because of your experience too, you will tend to be able to have seen different things. So, sometimes if a proposal is coming to you, you might be able to tell if that proposal makes sense or if it's a scam. The third, so another thing with experience, why it's an advantage, is because you can also leverage the knowledge, the skill, and the experience from your professional services to be able to package it in a world in which we live today and provide it to people as a service. For example, what Dr. Dimo and I are doing on this platform and what we do in our individual businesses, we are just packaging our experiences and asking people to learn from those experiences, to benefit from those experiences. And in exchange for those learnings and those benefits, they pay us for it. That's all we're doing. The things we are doing today, we couldn't teach it 20 years ago when we were 25
Yeah.
because it hadn't happened in our lives. We didn't know about it. We didn't have that kind of experience. So when you're at that point in your life, in your 40s, in your 50s, and you feel like you're behind, understand that there are also some advantages that you have. Another very critical advantage you have, networks. By the time you are in your late 30s, 40s, you have been building different relationships. You have met a lot of people through the different jobs you work, through maybe moving from city to city. I came to the US, for example, I lived in Minnesota. I studied IT in Maryland. I went to University of California in Berkeley, in California. And then now I live in Texas. I've met a lot of people in my life. I've built a lot of relationships from all these different places. And so at this point in my life now, I am leveraging a lot of those relationships for different reasons. There is hardly anything somebody can ask me now that they need help with, and I don't know how to direct you. Because I will know somebody if you're talking about auditing state business and stuff, I know Dr. Edimo who did that for many years in New Mexico. You talk about anything, I know somebody who can help you. That is an advantage for me. That is a network. I have a lot of clients who come to me because of referral from other people. That is network. So if you are at that point in your life, understand that that advantage too is there. The final thing that I want to talk about, which is important to understand, is this, right? History is full of people who started late. Don't forget, Colonel Sanders of KFC Chicken started KFC in his 60s. Ray Kroc transformed McDonald's in his 50s. Now, I don't want to make that a standard, but you must understand something. Even Warren Buffett made the most amount of his wealth. 99% of the wealth is after the age of 60. 60-year man is not a young man.
Yeah.
Now, what is the lesson in all of this, right? The lesson in all of this is that it isn't when you start, it's how focused you become once you begin. Because you know what? A lot of people make the mistake to think they need to recover time. You cannot recover time. There is nothing you can do about the time that has passed. I'll give you a simple example, right, Dr. Edimo?
Yep.
Let's consider this. Just a very simplistic example before we continue. Let's consider this as my lifespan, right? Are we together?
We're together.
Let's consider this paper as my lifespan, right? So let's say I had to live, they say an average male lives for 76 years in North America, right? So basically, I'll be 50 years in March. So what it really means is that from
you have 23 more years to go, man.
Good. From this starting point till about, so 3/4 of my life is gone. There's nothing I can do with this.
Wow.
I might as well use it to wipe my behind. This is all I got. This is it. This is all I got. And so everything I have to do should be within this time I have. So if, for example, I am behind on my finances, I am behind on the hopes and plans I have for my life, I'm not worried about the time that has passed. I'm not trying to catch up back to get younger because I cannot. I'm only trying to see if I can duplicate the outcome and the output of this small amount of time that I have, right? So for people who are in that situation, you must understand your job is not to try to recover lost time. You want to eliminate wasted time.
Yes.
That is where aggressive investing comes in. You want to concentrate your capital. You want to minimize your risk. You want to increase your income. You want to automate your investing. You want to delay consumption, and that will help you compress decades into focus years. Because the best time to have planted a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today.
Wow. You know, did you see how I like what Bridget Unana said? She said, Omo.
What does that mean?
Yeah, I'm dead.
Bridget, what does Omo mean?
When you show that paper, when you show that piece of paper and you cut 3/4 of this and throw it away, everybody understands that time is not on your side.
That shit has hit the fan.
Yes.
But it's real, right?
You know, I think we have to start bringing some of this, not just talking, but maybe we both should have like boards behind us that we can start doing some illustration. I think that was what you did there. It was really, really good. I'll tell you that. It was really, really good.
Thank you. Thank you.
So that got to me too.
Because Dr. Dimo, I look for ways to consciously remind myself that number one, it's not about the amount of time, it's about the amount of life in that time.
Yes.
And number two, with our experiences, with our knowledge, with our connections, with our networks and all of that stuff, it's now about compounding the output. That is why compounding is so powerful, because it starts first like arithmetic growth, but within a short period of time, it's no longer arithmetic. It becomes geometric.
Yeah.
Right? And so at this later point in your life, you can no longer go at arithmetic speed. You go at geometric speed. But the geometric speed now is not based on your personal speed. It's just based on being able to make sure that the results of each action is multiplied and compounded.
Wow. You know, based on some of the points that you said, Warren Buffett said, price is what you pay, value is what you get.
Absolutely.
And we have always thought that price and value are the same thing. No,
No.
price and value are totally different things. It's like somebody I wrote something on my wall today about wealth and riches.
Mm-hmm.
Riches is the cash equivalent of what you have. Wealth is the amount of assets that you've built over time.
Fact.
So each and everyone's wealth is unique. Your wealth might just be you're looking together to have asset worth say $200,000. That brings wealth to you. You having your freedom and stuff like that. That's wealth to you. Some folks they accumulate amount of cash. They are rich. So each and everyone is unique in that perspective. But we are on crunch time here, brother. Let me do this.
You think I can
Not
take one question before we go to
Yeah,
rapid
yeah,
fire?
yeah. I'll give you one question.
Okay.
Napoleon Hill stated that a goal is a dream with a deadline.
I love that.
And that is why today the topic here is invest with clarity and a set goal. It doesn't matter whether you're investing today or you'll be investing for 10 years. If you're just investing without a set goal, it's like you getting into a car without a GPS and you don't have a direction of where you're going.
That's
You'll
right.
just be going everywhere.
That's right.
And that is why we come into place to help you. Some of you might not even know how to set that goal for yourself, but that is how we come into place to help you set that goal for yourself. So that, okay, every year that goes by, you do a benchmark of how close or how far behind you are on that goal.
Mm-hmm.
It's better to shoot for the stars, or how did they say it, for the moon, and you get there,
Mm-hmm.
than
Mm-hmm.
just stay out here and you're shooting for that tree and
Very true.
you are not even able to climb on the tree. All right, so that's it. Let me give you one more question here. If many professionals finally reach a point where they have money left over each month to invest, beyond them contributing to the 401ks, what is the smartest order of building wealth and why does that order matter?
Hmm. That's an interesting one, Dr. Dimo, because I think one of the things too I got to learn on this journey is that most people don't fail because they don't invest. Actually, sometimes the failure is just because they invest in the wrong sequence. Wealth has an architecture, guys. All right, building wealth is just like building a house. You cannot start from the roof to the foundation. You start from the
That's,
foundation and you are
that's
going
why
up.
water, did you see what happened in the Southwest the other day?
I saw
Water
what
took,
happened in Limbe.
yeah, even in Boya, water took a lot of those houses that they started building from the roof down.
Okay, that's sad, but that's the reality. You start with the foundation first. So for everybody listening, of course, if you are in different parts of the world, we have different retirement schemes. All right. With some companies, they might have some bonuses they give to you. In the US here, it's called 401k. It's a scheme where the company gives money, encourage you to save money for your retirement, and then match a percentage of what you save for your retirement. That is generally the foundation because the money the company is matching on that money is free money. So I usually tell people that is the first thing you have to do. If your company offers a retirement plan where you can save money and they match some money on it, make sure you take that retirement plan. It certainly has some restrictions as to when you can withdraw the money, if you know, penalty free and tax free and things like that. All of those details, we can go into that in another session. But most people need to realize that that is where the foundation begins. Now, my order of investing is very simple. This is an order I use. This is an order I use with my clients, the people I coach, the mentees, because there is a logic to why the structure is designed this way. Number one, you start with the 401k, your retirement, which also has a match from your company. The second thing you want to do, you want to have an emergency fund. Remember, I talked about survival money and investment money. You never joke with survival money because if survival money gets hurt, then you go into investment money and you would have lost time. So you must always have an emergency fund. And an emergency fund, generally, this is how I think about it, right? It's easy to say, okay, 3 to 6 months and stuff, but think about it this way because it varies from people to people and the different kind of work you do. You have to think about your situation and your specific work. If you lose your job today, how long is it going to take you to get another one? That's a guiding principle. If you can estimate how long it's going to take you, depending on the kind of work you do, then you want to make sure you have money to cover your expenses for that time that is going to take you. If you work in McDonald's, for example, they fire you today in McDonald's, I'm sure you can get work in Chick-fil-A next week. Right? So you probably don't need 6 months. But if you do like the kind of work Dr. Edimo does, hey, soon to be, a professor of a university, it's difficult. So you got to be able to have at least a year put aside because if something happens, you need another year to get the next one, right? So that's how you think about that. Now, let's keep pushing. The third thing you want to do now is you want to get into investing now after you've done the 401k to the match of the company. You want to invest now in your Roth IRA. And the Roth IRA is a special vehicle because it is a vehicle where you can invest after tax money and the money grows tax free and you can withdraw the money tax free. Now, the important thing is that there are some caveats as to age and things like that within the Roth IRA and also to income. That is very important to know. If you earn a certain amount of money, beyond a certain amount of money, you cannot do the Roth IRA. But there are backdoor ways by which you can do it.
$157,000.
Exactly, 157, correct?
Yeah.
Exactly. But there are some backdoor ways you can do it. So if you're listening to us and these backdoor ways are legal, okay? There's something called the backdoor Roth. It is legal, nothing illegal about it. If you are listening to us and you have a need for that, you can always reach out to Dr. Edimo or myself. We can help you with how that works, right? For the people who are high income earners. The fourth thing, after you've maxed out your Roth IRA, because the maximum investment for Roth IRA this year is 7,500 if you are below 50, and if you are 50 and above is 8,000 for the catch up. Now, the fourth one you want to do after you've maxed out your Roth IRA is a traditional brokerage account. Now, a traditional brokerage account basically is an account that doesn't have any age restriction, amount restriction, but it's a taxable brokerage account because any money you invest in that account, you are going to pay taxes on the capital gains. But here is where the power of investing in the brokerage account is, and that's why I have it right very early in this process. It's because it gives you something that the other accounts don't give you, which is called flexibility. Flexibility means you have access to liquidity when you want it. And that is powerful. Because of what? Because for most people, they are thinking about retiring later in their lives, maybe somewhere about 65, 67. But the Social Security and the rules state that you need to hit a certain threshold, or you need to hit a certain age before you can start withdrawing money from these retirement accounts without having a penalty. So for most people, they're hoping to retire maybe at 55, 60. So you need to be able to bridge a gap of a few years before you can have access to the money that is in your retirement account. So it's important to have that brokerage account. I have a client I just worked with 2 days ago, and he's in his 50s. And I told him that what you've invested in your 401k, now you don't need to max it out every year. Reduce the amount of your 401k, put it just to the match, and then put more of your money now in a traditional regular brokerage account because you don't plan to work to 70. You want to retire somewhere about 59, 61. Now you will need some liquidity to tide yourself over before you start accessing 401ks and things like that without penalty. But if you don't mind paying the penalties, it is fine. So there is that part of it too, right? Then from there, now you're talking about owning other assets that can cash flow, like maybe even a business, real estate, right? So to me, Dr. Edimo, this is the order of investing. This is a whole podcast we can do. I'm just doing it very light so we don't go too detailed. That to me is the order. Start first with the free money, which is the 401k and the match from your company. And then you make sure you have your emergency fund. You get your Roth 401, your Roth IRA, right? And then from your Roth IRA, now you want to make sure you get into other assets that are cash Sorry, your brokerage account. After your brokerage account, then you can get other assets that are cash beneficial. And if you're just joining us new, you can go ahead and check on our platforms. You see other live videos we did like this, where we educated people properly, and you understand why your brokerage account is important as an independent standalone account.
Absolutely, absolutely. I want to welcome my brother and friend here, Dr. Jude Kebby from the great state of Illinois. He lives in Chicago. Thank you guys for joining. Again, Bridget Unana, incredible contributions here. Um, I see I see Faith Suleiman. Thank you for joining. Christy Peters. Thank you for joining. Bridget, Christy Peters. And let me see here. Patience Nana Felix. Thank you for joining. And James, Tiens James, thank you for joining as well. All of you that were here today, thank you for joining and sharing as well. As we round up the show here today, I say if you don't want the next 10 years to be like the last, then now is the time to do something different.
Yes,
If you don't want the next 10 years to be like the last, then now is the time to do something different. And if you don't do something different, the next 10 years will still come here and meet you. And if you look at the statistics, right, broke people don't die that early.
yeah,
Especially if you had the chance to change your lifestyle and to change your future, you will stay here for a long, long time. I think even next week, right? Even though we're not medical professionals, I think we should talk about the way that we live, especially after the age of 30.
mm-hmm.
I think that would be a topic. I went to the hospital the other day. There are certain things that, especially where you cross after the age of 35, right? If
Correct.
if your next 20 or 25 years you don't make certain changes in your life, again, everything being equal, again, you can be hit by a car and stuff. But some of us we die by the decisions and the choices and lifestyle that we make.
Absolutely.
And I think we can have a really good conversation on that, just for us to put our own based on our personal experiences here. It's not any kind of medical advice, but our own personal experiences here. And maybe in the future, you have friends that are medical practitioners, medical doctors. They might come on this platform because there is no need for us talking about building all this wealth, right?
Absolutely.
Then at 60, you're on your deathbed.
No, it doesn't make
It's
sense.
not gonna work. So two just quick answers here.
Correct.
How we round up.
Absolutely.
Rapid fire.
Yeah.
What will you rather double your income? Will you rather double your income or cut your financial mistakes in half? And why?
Cut my financial mistakes in half. And the reason why is because it's been proven that more money is lost so more money is lost through mistakes than duplicated through growth.
That's a good one. Rich friends or rich habit? Which one creates more wealth in the long run?
That's a tough one, man. They both go hand in hand. I cannot trade you for anything, but I think rich habits, because at least that gives you a certain amount of control of your
Uh,
destiny.
All right. If someone wants to build wealth faster, should they focus on investing more, spending less, or catching all the gambling?
Spending less. Because
Okay.
spending less is what gives you the ability to invest more.
Income or ownership? Which one creates true financial freedom?
Income is a bridge, ownership is the destination.
Wow. Success or significance? Which one should people pursue first?
I think success is significant.
Okay. Why?
Why? Because you can be very successful and just to yourself, but you cannot be significant without impacting others. And I believe success is a precursor to significance, because you leverage success to become significant.
Wow. Talent or character, which determines long-term success?
Character. I've seen a lot of talented failures. And, and I've seen a lot of successful, less talented, but very disciplined and character-driven people.
Oh man, it's always a pleasure hanging out. What are your last words?
Look, Ledimo, what cracked you up so bad? Because I said I feel. Anyways, as we wrap up this session, I just like to leave you with one thought, everybody, and thank you for hopping on. You must remember that wealth isn't built by making one perfect investment. I want you to keep that. It's going to be built by making hundreds of disciplined decisions that most people just never see or might never applaud. 20 years from now, your life won't be determined by what you wish you had done. You must remember, it will be determined by the habits that you chose to practice starting today. So don't wait until you know everything. Don't wait for the perfect market. Don't wait until you make more money. Start where you are. Invest what you can. Own what you believe in. And let time do what only time can do. Because if today's conversation challenged you, which I hope it did, it challenged your thinking, it challenged your understanding, and you're wondering, how do I apply this to my own financial situation? I would love to help you. Dr. Edimo would love to help you, myself included. I offer a one-on-one coaching diagnosis session where your current financial position, we go through it step by step. We can help build a personalized roadmap to help move you from being an earner to becoming an owner. If you are interested, I want you to put the word blueprint on any of our platforms, and we're going to have one of our assistants reach out to you and we'll take it from there. Until the next time, you must always remember your salary can take care of you. Ownership can take care of generations. And so until the next time, keep building with purpose, keep investing with wisdom, and keep creating a legacy that is going to outlive you. And on that note, I am out, Dr. Edimo.
All right, my brother. Until next time, see you next week, Thursday. Cheers for now.
Absolutely.
Thank you
Awesome.
guys
Have a
so
wonderful
much
time,
for hanging
everybody.
out with us. We really, really do appreciate you guys. Thank you all.
Awesome.